Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof!
G'day, hey, how are you all going? It's Dry That Aussie Metal Guy here with Crank.com and with Cranium Radio. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, it is with great pleasure that I'm getting to have a chat with the one, the only, Olli-Pekka Laine from Amorphis. Some of you may know him from BARREN EARTH, also MANNHAI, and his latest project, Octoploid, which is an absolute ripper. They've already got a few singles of it. Ollie, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, Chai. It's great to be on Crank. Yeah, it's thank you for invite and let's go for it. It's interesting to be here.
It's an absolutely ripping album. I've been a huge fan of Amorphis for many years and your music in general. When I had this one sent over from RPM, I was really excited about it. But can you tell me where this all started for you?
Well, it's been boiling under pretty long a time already. It's probably it was around 20 years ago when I started to think that at some point I would like to come up with an album with my own terms. And somehow I thought like, okay, when I'm turning 50, I will have an album out, but that just didn't happen quite. But still, it's near enough. So it's kind of milestone album and sort of birthday present for myself. And yeah, but still, couple of years back, a little bit more after Corona, I this pandemic, I just realized that okay, now I'm having enough material in my drawer to come up with the entire album, probably material that couldn't probably suit any other band. So therefore, I asked Mikko Pietinen, the drummer, if he would join me for my solo album, and he fortunately agreed. And we started to record the basic tracks, drums and bass, in his little studio in Helsinki. And we, at that point, we didn't know at all like where is it going, and are we recording an album or a demo or whatever. But still, we recorded around like 4 or 5 songs with drums, and then I played the basses there, and still we were operating with my demo instruments like guitars and keyboards and vocals. You don't want to hear those, but still, yeah, there it just built up little by little. I found Peter Salonen, guitar player from YouTube. He's living like 1 hour ride from Helsinki, and he's a young, very talented player. He's not exactly a metal player. He's a rock and roll guitar player, and which is a total bonus for me because I wanted to have a little bit different perspective for the album, playing wise as well. So he agreed to join, and he started to make lead guitars at his home, and then we recorded his rhythm guitars in Mikko's studio again, and then we just started to build it up little by little to add keyboards with Kasper Mortensen and Kim Rantala, and some of the keyboards are mine as well. And then there was an idea to probably have a permanent vocalist on the band, but still it's really hard thing to accomplish, or you cannot find free vocalists from the streets of Helsinki. So it's and I didn't want to have that like super group stamp which BARREN EARTH had at some point at least. So I didn't want to have just one like established vocalist to do all the vocals. So then I just thought like, okay, I'm going to ask all the singers who I've been working with throughout my career, because I'm celebrating my career here, so it would be a good idea to include those all of those guys. So I nearly did it. I just missed Pasi Koskinen, but all the others are there, and also Pete Eskelinen, who is from Rapture and Feast. And I always wanted to work with him, so I included him on a couple tracks as well.
Yeah, it has an amazing sound. I think Peter's guitar is absolutely unreal because this sound on this album, there's so many points on what you've said there and what I wanted to get over, but the sound on this album is so good. It has like this real death metal sound, but it's also got this psychedelic sound. It's got this real rock vibe to it as well. You can listen to each different track on this album and kind of get something a little bit different to it each time. It must have been fun for you kind of creating this and kind of letting all those influences that you have as well kind of come out on this album and be that chief songwriter and let it all flow from yourself.
Yeah, it was totally exciting and fun to do it and to try things in the studio, to experiment with sounds, because naturally I could hear it in my head, and it was not that kind of straightforward thing that guitar player comes here and plays the part. It was kind of a we needed to try to find the sound, the correct sound, and the correct accents for playing. You know, it just couldn't be like straightforward playing all the time, and sometimes it was really sensitive thing to try to find. You know, it was easy with metal parts. There was just post distortion and just let it go. But still, with cleaner parts, it was with mixing, for example, piano and clean guitar. It was they cannot play at the same time, like with the accents. So we needed to find some kind of a middle ground for those. So that was like totally new thing for me, that the songs has to be arranged that carefully. So it was fun and really like fruitful session in that sense. So yeah, I learned a lot during the sessions, and also I found it quite much fun, as you said.
Oh, it was a lot of fun to listen to because, like, as you mentioned, those heavier death metal bits and the transitions to those proggy bits and the rock bits are just absolutely seamless. I put this album on, dude. I was absolutely just blown away. I didn't know what to expect at first, man. Like, I've heard your music before, but then putting it in, I was like, really, get the fuck out of here. This is so bloody good, you know. Tell us about that first single, Human Amoral, that kind of you released off of it as well.
Well, talking about Human Moral, it's one of the newer songs on the album, and it was kind of there was like opportunity to explore even more because now there's this folky verse and chorus on the beginning of the song, and it's kind of like even through their scrolling vocals, there's not distorted guitar at all. There's just organ and bass and lead guitar. So it's kind of an unorthodox thing to do on a metal song, I guess. But then there's naturally coming death metal guitars after that, and the dynamics changed like in 1 second. So yeah, and well, it was kind of fun to play out with those kind of things, and of course with the bridge, it was something which was like a created in the studio. I went to Kim Rantala's studio, and I told him just to play with the Moog synthesizer with lots of delay, so that he would play and the delay would answer to that comment with the Moog. So I kind of wanted it to the delay to be an instrument on its own. So that's what he did, and I did think that he succeeded pretty well with it. And well, yeah, of course, there's this kind of arpeggio with Moog as well, which is kind of a good idea from him. And actually, I've been using that idea after the recordings pretty much on my new songs. So you always live and learn throughout the process, and yeah, you get probably the most of like with these kind of experiences, you learn the most and get like more ideas for future as well.
Yeah, for the future. And you had Tommy J guest vocaling on that as well. Tell us a little bit about kind of your songwriting process as well. Like kind of, did you, when you made these tracks, you had the core tracks ready to roll. Were you like, okay, then now who am I going to hit up for vocals? Did you have in mind kind of who you wanted or kind of what sound you wanted and who you wanted on each track before you kind of, after you'd done it? Like, tell us a little bit about that process in your head there.
Yeah, it became afterwards when the songs were pretty much done. I kind of started to wonder like who is going to fit on different particular songs, and this is the lineup I came up with. I don't know, it could be different. I think they are so well seasoned vocalists, all of them. But for example, Coast of the Drowned Sailors, it kind of screamed to have Tommi Koivusaari to sing on it because it's kind of Amorphis 90s kind of like elegy era song. So it was really important for me to have Tommi Koivusaari on that song. And also it was pretty clear that Mikko Kotamäki would sing on The Hallowed Flame, for example, because his crawling vocals are so bombastic and yeah, and also his clean vocals are so fragile, so they're like there's a nice contrast on that song because it's a ballad song, so it's good to have like kind of a like sensitive side and then the outburst of something. I don't know, maybe melancholy or whatever feeling you might get from it.
Yeah, it came out really well. Can you tell me a little bit where the name came from, dude? Because it's kind of an interesting name, and someone pointed out somewhere it's like the three initials are kind of your name sitting in the middle there as well. Kind of fits nicely. I don't know if that has anything to do with it at all, or
Oh yeah, well maybe that was the primary reason for picking up that name, and it was actually was a primary reason because I want to kind of underline that this is my band or my project or whatever, my solo thing, and therefore it was really important for me to make it clear somehow. And but still, it's Octoploid. It's like really well balanced word, and it sounds good, and it makes great logo, and it like the music. There's lots of different influences from different genres. I wanted to have a name that could be like progressive rock band's name or like classic rock band's name or whatever, or like stoner or psychedelic alternative band's name. But still, it fits metal band as well. So it's kind of a overall name for a band who can do whatever it likes in the future.
truth be told, when I did have the email sent over from RPM and I seen the name Octoploid with you, that's immediately what I thought. I'm like, man, that sounds like some funky 70s groovy rock band, and kind of you hit the nail on that head with that name there as well. Tell us about the opening track, and which was also the second track single on that you released there as well, Octoploid.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a basic track for me on the album, but still it's kind of a solid opener.
It does.
But it's kind of a one of the rare occasions where I try to do something black metalish, like a 90s black metal fashion. I don't know, did I succeed, but still, at least I tried, and but still there's death metal involved and some classic rock in the middle part, and yeah, and also the idea of having those Catholic priests or Orthodox priests singing with the incense in the church. That's also created in my bedroom, you know. I just sang it like I watched those YouTube videos of the priests singing in the church, and I tried to imitate those, and did loads of the tracks on Cubase, and yeah, it became interesting mix after all. And also there's great guitar solo by Peter again in the end of the song, and which kind of yeah, it's a kind of nice outro for the song, a little tiny explosion to the end. So that's
Yeah,
classic trick to do.
yeah, I love the feel of the album. I love kind of how you kind of get up to the instrumental as well. I love whole albums. I know it's for me a whole album. I can just like with this album, I just kept listening to it over and over again. You kind of get that little. I'll always love that little moments of introspection with albums where those instrumental hits beyond the Aeons album name. You kind of do have the moment as my cockatiels kick in there where you do have this little bit of an introspection as well.
Well, yeah, I think it's important to let people breathe for a while in the middle of the album, and that's kind of homage for Black Sabbath and for Xysma as well. They did similar kind of thing on their Yeah album, and with Black Sabbath there is Solitude, for example, and I always enjoyed that kind of playing with dynamics on the album, and to make them more interesting, and to let people a little bit air so that they can listen to the rest of the album after that. So that was the idea behind it.
It always comes out really well. You do have a new single dropping off of the album, which comes out tomorrow, The Hallowed Flame. Tell us all about it. It's a really good one, people. You're going to enjoy it.
Okay, well, that's one of the songs which actually has clean vocals on it. There's clean verse, and it's kind of a standard how should I say, a death metal ballad, if you could say so, and because it's waltz, time signature, and it's really easy to come up with those kind of songs. I mean, waltz, because it's kind of that's something what we did a lot in the 90s, and that kind of stuck, that kind of songwriting manner to me, and it's really easy for me. I think I have like a few waltz songs in my drawer still, waiting to be arranged and to be finished. So, but I think only one waltz song can be on one metal album, because it would be a little bit too much of repetition, and that probably could get a little bit boring. But still, this song there is on top of waltz and the ballad side there is death metal, and there is like prog metal involved. There's kind of, I think there's some influences from Prog 3 in that prog part, and also from Autopsy from California, USA, with a really doomy bridge. And yeah, there's again like great soloing by Kim Rantala and Peter Salonen, which is kind of icing on the cake. So yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Mikko Kotamäki is doing the vocals again, and as I said, he's singing really great, clean vocals on that, and also really bombastic growling vocals.
It must have been a really cathartic process for you to finally bring out this album, you know, that has been something you've had on your mind for all these years. I dare say it's not going to be as long before the next Octoploid album, yeah?
Hard to say. I think.
Sorry, you're flat out with Amorphis at the moment too, aren't you, as well? Like you're about to drop that the live album as well you recently done, which is the Tales from the Thousand Lakes. So, and that's like the 30th year anniversary of that. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, we are celebrating that album like that, and but I don't think that we will exactly tour with that
Yep.
live album. We are just supporting Halo still, and I'm gonna be really occupied with Amorphis from like I think 2 weeks from now. We are going to begin the another half of the festival shows, and it's gonna like last until the end of the summer, and then we are hitting the road in North America, where we are going to play like 4-5 weeks or so, and then it's time to start rehearsing the new songs, and we are entering the studio in November already. So yeah, I'm gonna be really busy with Amorphis from now on. So probably after that, we are playing one show in August with Octoploid in Helsinki. So probably after that show, there's gonna be a tiny break with Octoploid, but still the next year I'm gonna be having pause with Amorphis. So obviously there's gonna be time for Octoploid again. So let's see what's going to happen. Probably some gigs and maybe rehearsing new songs or something.
Awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun for you, eh? Like something totally different. It must be a totally different feeling being able to get on stage with this project of your material than it is with Amorphis. And I know that's such a good feeling with both bands, but you know, getting on stage in Helsinki with your project, something that's been in your heart for so many years. I'm looking forward to it for you, mate, as well. And the Halo album was absolutely ripper. I did have a chat with Tommy Coy last year, or the year before for that album as well, man. Absolutely ripping. So it was really, really cool to get to chat to you about this. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, my friend?
Hey, Jai, thank you very much. It was pleasure to talk to you and Gronk in general, and just take a listen to Beyond the Eons and keep your mind wide open while listening to it, and give it a chance, and you might like it.
They're absolutely going to love it. Everyone chuck it in the stereos, crank it up really bloody loud. The neighbors are going to want to hear it too. Cheers, mate.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.